Good afternoon, wherever you are within the world. Welcome to our bracket matchup of the Adamant Cup between PlumeriaKnight and moonblazewolf. This is a round of 16. This is game one, and I'm Professor Render, and joining me is Karat. How are you doing?
Well, considering that we have the pun engines already fired up and ready to go today, I think we are in line for a great experience, not just watching these runners, but watching all of y'all in chat. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got two really good runners today, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they go about going through this seed today.
Yeah. So if you haven't been tuning in for the past couple of streams with our brackets, we've had some quite notable differences between the groups and the brackets. Namely, Cecil and Fusoya are now out. T Pro is in before T Wild, and we have sell quarter on, so that selling items will not be worth as much as we had in the brackets. There's a bit more that I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, Cecil and Fu taking an extended vacation is one of the big ones. Of course, the tough objectives are obviously a part of this. It seems like it is much more prioritizing, very much a more strategic look in the brackets because of T-Pro. You're not able to find stuff that is quite as good in a lot of the usual loot spots. So you have all of those issues accordingly. So it'll be interesting to see how the runners go about taking care of this. And here we go. Here our objectives are revealing themselves on the restream, but my goodness, that word spat that we saw to begin with.
Yeah, that is great. But we do have, before we start off, we do have a Yang as our lead hero. Even though C hero's not on, I'm just saying that. Oh yeah, back row glitch is off, so you gotta be a bit more aware of who is in your back row.
Right, yeah, the usual incident of, well, give Edge a full moon and then put him in the back row isn't quite going to work as well. You still can, if I remember correctly, you can still hit things in the front row with your back row character and be okay, but you just can't hit back road stuff, and so it throws a little bit of extra math into the whole equation.
Yeah, and we are underway. And we do, speaking of that Edge, we do find Edge right away along with Octomam on the Bygin spot. We start off with a pink tail. If we have an early hook, that's an automatic adamant armor.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a good thing to have. And of course, having Edge early on, we do have C Neki as one of the flags. So not going to be quite as well equipped as per normal, but you do still like to see Edge at the beginning, if nothing else, because if you do find some decent stuff for him, then he is off to the races as far as power is concerned, and you have a much easier time clearing the overworld.
Yeah, and both players are gonna head off to Troya to take a look at Bedward, and maybe go ahead and check out the public treasury as well. So pretty much this is a pretty standard opener with the free key item available for Edward.
Right, yeah, that's definitely something that I've seen a lot and that I would certainly do myself, as we see the Legend Sword as the pickup from Bedward. Go ahead and check that now. Make sure that you don't forget it, because it can very much come back to haunt you later.
Correct, yeah. And although this isn't an objective, it is something to have in case we want something from Kokal for an item, for some weapon or whatever.
Yeah, Chad also pointing out that one of the things that makes a big difference in this was something you mentioned earlier, which was sell quarter. So the loot is not obviously as valuable, which means you have to be a little bit more judicious as to what you buy. And it also leans into what Chad is also talking about, which is why we're seeing a lot of mage-heavy parties, because T-Pro and Cell Quarter is making it to where it's a good bit harder to get Berserker parties online. It's certainly not impossible, but it's tougher.
Correct. Yeah, I've seen a couple of races where mage heavy parties have been the norm heading into Z fights. So that makes a whole lot of sense. And PlumeriaKnight is going to go ahead and raise the hovercraft. Makes sense because you have a pink tail already available to you. In case the hook shows up, you can just pick up that hovercraft and turn it in immediately. And it looks like it's going to actually take that all the way over to Antlion Cave.
Yeah, we've got our first little bit of divergence between the runners. Moonblaze focusing on doing a bit of shopping over here in Troya, whereas Plumeria went straight after the hovercraft. And now looks like Moonblaze is going to go ahead and head over and check what is on Mount Hobbs, check the character and the boss to see if we've got ourselves a good combination therein.
Yeah, with moonblazewolf's pickups, including 2 long swords, that'll help get Edge off to a nice start, even if C. Nikki isn't fully nice equipped. Do you have a Tela and Bahamut? This isn't the worst fight you encounter in this spot.
No, I mean, especially since you've got double long-sworded Edge, Bahamut's not going to reach the bottom of that count. On the other side, looks like we got ourselves full-on leg here in Antlion, so have a very showy cave, I suppose.
Yeah, Rubicante in this spot isn't also not a bad spot too. This particularly because there's not the low magic output for that spot, so this becomes a pretty easy fight along with the low HP. And speaking of that hook, there it is.
Yeah, looks like we get the tournament's namesake on board pretty quickly, I would expect.
Yeah, early adamant armor, that's an immediate turn-in. So, and yeah, well, it's not objective. You like to see that hook and that pink, in combination with that early pink tail. So you're pretty much set to go. You got your first power spike here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Plumeria is going to have that right now, of course, probably turning in that pink tail pretty quickly. And then Moonblaze is now going through Antlion and will have that pretty soon himself. So yeah, I think, especially to some degree, I think this favors Moonblaze because you already have the double longswords on Edge. Combine that with an Adamant, and you've pretty much got a one-man wrecking crew for the overworld writ large.
Correct. Yeah, I think this will be great once the Moonblazewolf sees what it actually is. So PlumeriaKnight will get that adamant armor turned in immediately, as I would think probably would have thought he would do it originally, just because it makes sense to do it at this early on.
Yeah, and Chad also mentioning that Plumeria may very well go ahead and go after that Eblin character, but it looks like it's not going to. Going to go ahead and check Fabul and see what is available there.
Yeah, and we're gonna go and see some. Oh, I thought I was gonna put up the assassin dagger there. That would have been an interesting play to make.
Yeah, I was gonna say that assassin dagger definitely will have its uses as well.
Yeah, with the ability to automatically one shots regardless of HP based on if you could. I know you can manipulate it too. Which is I've seen it a couple. I think about a few months ago. I think Possum was. I was actually watching Possum streams.
All right, we have some Dark Imps over at the Fabul defense for Plumeria, and of course, Edge's fire. Wow, I'm a little surprised it didn't take out all 3 of them in one shot, but just about did. So no biggie there.
Yeah, but this is that's a very simple fight too. Even if some of the earlier spots have some easier fights, make it a little bit easier. It's like Dark Imps, if in the wrong spot, can still do a lot of damage. There's a pan coming out from the Fabul King.
Yeah, obviously something we can't use right now, but it definitely is a good thing to have before you go jogging up necessarily all the way to Sheila's room. Plumeria goes ahead and loots the bottom treasures there, but doesn't do anything else. So, gonna hang on to that pan, of course, until we get underground.
Right. There's a loot in the shops that that's a nice thing just to find. Again, you're gonna be with the cell quarter. You're gonna be a little bit more astute with how you approach, with how you fight. Not fight. Yeah, how you buy stuff because of that cell quarter.
Yeah, so of course you obviously want to be on the lookout for good stuff, but Moonblaze doing a lot of that shopping early on with those long swords and is still looting a pretty good bit. Tiara is a nice find on ordeals, but beyond that, yeah, I don't know. I don't expect a whole lot of selling necessarily unless you really need to buy Cure 3s or any other things on tap.
Right, and moonblazewolf is heading up to ordeals as PlumeriaKnight also is going to start that fight with Bahamut and get that Tella, and that fight's going to be real. It's not that hard, and Bahamut's going to just be going down really quickly. Over on moonblazewolf's side, we do have Yang on the Mylon and Friends spot.
So our karate man is pulling double duty right now as both protagonist and opponent.
Yeah, that's always a funny sight to see. With just I always mention it is that one Spider-Man pointing image. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, I think the only thing that may have made that funnier would have been if it was on the backside of Hobbs, so we could have the kick, or excuse me, ordeals, so we could have the kick around the world on top of the mirror there.
Oh yeah, that I've seen that before. It's pretty funny. We do have elements on the Mylon Z spot. Not particularly all that annoying, I would say. It's at least it's better than like having it in like an awful spot.
Yeah, I was going to say, elements here I don't think is going to really scare either of our runners. Moonblaze takes them out very quickly, and then Plumeria is going to be right on his heels. So yeah, I don't think it's intimidating for either of them.
Yeah, that's that went down really quickly, especially and with Moonblazewolf having the double longs and the adamant armor. This becomes a pretty solid cakewalk. But we're gonna go ahead and get Moonblazewolf's ordeals key item pickup, and Tella will also get the spells from that. And there's Magma Key.
Yeah, there you go. There's our underground, and there's Misty. Although finding Misty doesn't mean much in these seeds because our free item is in Bedward rather than the Mist Dragon check.
Yeah, it's just a little, hey, I'm here. What's on the DKC spot? It's a free fight. Let's go.
Yeah, it was pretty much such a free fight that Moonblaze took care of it pretty much at the amount of time it took for me to look at chat and look back. So there you go.
Yeah, so that will be Moonblazewolf getting the Magma Key, and then of course the Meteof and all the spells from Tella online. And
yeah, it'll be interesting to see where both of our runners go from here, because of course having the Magma Key opens obviously the underworld, and if Moonblaze goes to the Fabul defense, then we'll see that pan and we'll of course go accordingly. But I kind of get the feeling that Moonblaze may just go ahead and go straight underground, and it will actually, understandably so, but it would be a little bit of a routing mistake from what we know because of that lack of a pan. Moonblaze, though, going to Baron first, so we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, this is also perfectly fine. Just it's it's a character and two boss fights. We find Dr. Legay on the Baron Guard spot. This will be really quick.
Yeah, I was going to say, if Moonblaze is able to move fast enough and is able to pull it off, is able to avoid all that lovely dialogue that comes with Dr. Luggage.
Yeah, and then this will also, the same thing happens on Lugay too, so that's not a problem. But Baron in 2 is Odin. Okay.
Yeah, shouldn't be too bad considering how hard that edge is hitting, because they've already got half the damage in as it stands right now. Edge is about to get berserked, so yeah, definitely not going to have any trouble with this side either.
Yeah, that's a with what we know so far, this is just free as all get out. And we do find a Stardust item, so not particularly all that helpful. But in terms of the key items, but we do get a Sid out of that.
And if you find a cursed ring, Sid can obviously be good for agility stuff, but you already have Tella, who is also good for agility stuff. So, it's kind of a mixed bag as far as that goes.
Yeah, it's really dependent if you find a curse ring somewhere. And keeping up with the character checks, we're going to see Plumeria heading into Evelyn Cave, looking for that. Probably checking some chests, maybe finding that Stillman to help. I guess to maybe. I don't know what you do in this with T-Pro being on with the trap chest.
Yeah, chat mentioning probably just looking for money. That's definitely understandable. If you find some really good weapons or items here, and it looks like Plumeria is going to go ahead and pull the trigger to buy some stuff. So, yeah, looking for a good source of particularly Bacchae will serve the party as it stands right now very, very well.
Yeah, and I would imagine with what we have now with Edge online, we also I would see PlumeriaKnight probably looking to see but probably go for a grind on the Mad Ogres for Bacchus wine.
Yeah, you could definitely do that considering we have Mr. Steelyman Edge. So that option is certainly available, and of course we have access to it because we could just waltz into the upper tower here and be able to steal that should we so wish.
Yeah, although the Steelman was giving Gang and Tella a bit of trouble, but Edge doesn't really care. He's got adamant armor. He's only doing 1 point of damage each time, so this really will not affect Plumeria's decision to keep fighting this. Over on moonblazewolf's side, we did see a Porum fighting a Mom Bomb. Over that would be on the Rubicante spot.
I was going to say that is an interesting boss to find at Rubicante. I mean, because you've got, of course, the extra XP that Mom Bomb has anyway, added to a spot that is a little bit on the edge there. So, interesting to see at very least.
Yeah, and moonblazewolf opting to make the substitution to get rid of Sid and Porum, which makes sense because as we've seen, these flags lean towards the mages department rather than anything like berserkers, as you mentioned. So having the decision to take Porum and not Sid makes sense.
Yeah, because you've already got Tella for essentially agility concerns. So yeah, Sid really didn't have a particular use right at the moment. So yeah, it's understandable. Looks like Moonblaze is about to drop that magma key in, and we will see what the underworld has in store.
And PlumeriaKnight says, recognizing that there wasn't any Bacchus wine, and probably just doesn't want to waste time trying to find the Mad Ogre's trap chest. Just gonna go ahead and bail out, just like moonblazewolf did from Evelyn Cave.
Yeah, of course, Moonblaze going down here is, we know that the pan was at the Fable defense. So unfortunately, this is, of course, obviously Moonblaze is not in a position to know that right now, but we know that this is at least a slight routing, not really mistake exactly, but it is going to be a little bit of a crossover, because once Moonblaze goes back up to check Fable and Sheila 1, we'll find out that it is I suppose you would call it French vanilla because the pan is at least in the hands of somebody in one of the towers of Fabul, just not quite the one in vanilla. And then, of course, have to go back down.
Right. It's a little. We'll have to see if that leads to anything. Because right now we don't really know that until PlumeriaKnight heads down to the underground. Which moonblazewolf is the first one to make it there. It's gonna go and check Tomra. Okay, Hourglass 2s and exit items. But we're more concerned about is the Hourglass 2s.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have exit on tap. It's more a question of being able to deal with some of the enemies for whom those hourglasses are particularly useful.
Right. I'm only mentioning the exit items just because it's there. Even though we already have exit on the fly.
Right. Yeah, if that had been found before Tella had, I think we might have seen our runners investing in at least a couple of them.
Right, yeah, in which that would be the more sensible play in that case. So, moonblazewolf is going to go head down into the Fey March, grab the chest item, and then look at the two Fey March bosses, because we do need to take down the Leviathan spot in the Fey March.
Yep, our runners are going to have to commit a little bit of regicide in order to finish out this seed, so it'd be a good thing to know which king we are going to be destroying today.
moonblazewolf picks up the Adamant Rock, so that will lead into a possible pickup for a powerful weapon off of Cook Hall. And PlumeriaKnight will now also head down to the Fey March, or not the Fey March, the Underground. We do see the Cabrenas and a Sparkle on the Fey March.
And if I remember correctly, that's the first Sparkle we've seen today, so all 5 of our options are on the table at the moment.
Yeah, and that was our first Sparkle, yes. I do recall that.
Chat mentioning that the shops so far have been not so fun in the Underground, as we have looked in the Fey March and found very, very little worth of much of anything.
And as I had suspected, PlumeriaKnight will be heading directly down to the Sylph Cave to turn in that pan. Did find a trap chest, but didn't want to take that. Oh, I see why. Putting on the assassin dagger to automatically swoon the enemies if luck is correct.
It looks like Moonblaze is getting things sorted out to perhaps give this Sparkle a shot to see what it is. Of course, considering it's an objective, I could definitely understand going after the knowledge and at least giving it a shot, seeing maybe a try or two to see if Moonblaze can take this down.
Yeah, this will be quite a move to make here, but moonblazewolf will play it safe first, and we'll go ahead and do the Calbrena fight, using the hourglass in the back to stop the formation of the big Calbrena, and it's gonna go ahead and start charged up. I believe okay. I didn't know why there was a quake there.
I was going to say, yeah, that unfortunately is the wrong twin.
Right, yeah. So now it's up to Edge just to pretty much lay waste to those Calbrenas. They have a very small health pool.
Yeah, and the good news is, of course, with that hourglass being tossed out, the dolls are not likely going to have enough time to be able to form into the big doll, which, of course, has its own issues. Moonblaze is able to take it down expeditiously and finds something for Eddie.
Yeah. Now this will depend if Eddie shows up in the next couple of minutes. Otherwise, it'll be darted. So that's just more of a concern that I would have in that case. But Moonblazewolf is going to go ahead and see what that sparkle is. See if this will be anything to note. It's a pale dim.
Yeah, that's not the worst thing you could find down here, but not exactly something that you particularly want to go after at the low levels that we have right now.
Yeah, it's intel in the end, so for now, Moonblazewolf will take this on. And we're gonna go ahead and get a package from Sheila, and then another Sazendecker from the Pan turn in. So the only thing we get from that, it wasn't from value from the Pan itself. It was rather checking a Yang and then going up to Sheila for Sheila 1.
Yeah, so it turns out that Moonblaze is not quite going to be burned as badly as we might have expected from not having done the full defense yet. But I figure we'll probably feel obligated to go back and check the Pan later, so it may just be a little bit of deferred issues on that front.
Yeah, and that's something that will come into play if you're still figuring out where what your go mode item is gonna be. The job dwarf is an answering service operator.
Thank you for calling Free Enterprise. We apologize for being unavailable right now. If you would like to leave a message, please press 1.
I had to call that out because job dwarf is a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Plumeria being a runner of the people this afternoon, so definitely much appreciated.
Yeah, so yeah, PlumeriaKnight is going to go through Atomra as before. There's those hourglasses that Moonblazewolf has saw, so it's going to go ahead and start selling stuff off here. As Moonblazewolf sees the Dark Imps and will get that pan, so it won't be as bad of a burn if it was earlier on, I would say.
Yeah, chat pointing out that heroin robe is definitely an interesting pickup. Can certainly be powerful, especially with a good bow combination from Porum, but it does, of course, carry the risk of depressing spell abilities as well. The Moonblaze gets through that Fabul defense and is going to find his own piece of very heavy cookware.
Yeah, so that, yeah, it won't, as we know, it won't lead to anything directly from the pan, but it will lead into the vicinity of the package, which is required.
Yeah, that package will come, of course, from the Sheila 1 turn-in, which I don't think Moonblaze has done that quite yet, but may very well just wait to do it until after turning in the pan, just to kind of get 2 birds with 1 stone. And yeah, that looks like that's what Moonblaze is going to do. Also, chat, I have to say I love y'all for running with my impromptu answering machine prompt there. So definitely much appreciated.
Yeah, I took note of that. So Moonblazewolf is gonna go ahead and go through the pan stuff. Again, and I already mentioned this before, so what that really means. But PlumeriaKnight will also be looking at the two bosses from the Fey March, and it will be nice to see that Calbrina for Plumeria. Although I think he got some hourglasses here.
I did see an hourglass pickup. Yes, I don't remember how many because I've been sort of trying to keep up with the two runners, and now of course chat is being entertaining in its own self. So but I do believe I did see hourglass pickups.
Okay, so yeah, then it'll be that Calbrina fight will be of equal ease for PlumeriaKnights and Moon, compared to from what we know from moonblazewolf. Just gonna go and take a look at the what we know as the Pale Dim fight, and immediately resets out of that. Makes sense.
Yeah, looks like Plumeria is going to go give those dolls a try, though, albeit with really low health, so maybe want to take care of that before trying the dolls, but still, having an hourglass will certainly help out with that. Looks like the Forge gave us... I didn't know you could make shirts in a forge. Interesting.
It wouldn't surprise me knowing my other game.
I will say, I was looking at Plumeria's screen. Did Moonblaze check the shop at Kokol? I don't believe he did.
Moonblazewolf did see the cold call. It was there was glass helmets, ribbons, a life staff, and the golden apple.
Ah, okay. So ribbons are good, but the rest of that's not quite so exciting.
With the ability to negates every single elemental attacks is really good.
Oh yeah, absolutely, of course.
Why not just charge up a meteor?
I mean, swag is swag, I suppose.
I think PlumeriaKnight did charge up a meteor because I just saw his menu, and I'm judging by the fact that Tell is taking quite a while to charge this up. This is definitely a meteor charge. So hey, if you wanted to see some meteor, here you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say endless falling rocks are very effective against poor squishy dolls.
That's way more effective than you need to be. But PlumeriaKnight will get that spoon.
I was gonna say, yeah, given that Plumeria had already seen the dolls, no real surprise. You go ahead and toss those rocks out after you get that hourglass off, because I mean, what else do you have to lose at that point?
Yeah, it's you do it because you want to. Like it's your, you know, this fight's free. You might as well just go out in style.
So now we have Moonblaze up in the tower here, going ahead and stealing a whole bunch of sirens. I'll be curious to see how many sirens that he steals as he is busy virusing himself to death here.
Yeah, and this is and we're also gonna get some cry strats coming in as well.
Yep, for anybody who maybe is not familiar with this game or how the mechanics of this game work, perfect, I swear. The ability Cry, for whatever reason, monkeys around with the game's code and makes it easier for Edge to steal stuff. It is a little bizarre and is mostly just black magic, but it somehow seems to work. So Moonblaze is very much taking advantage of that to get all of the sirens that he's going to need to be able to get this party up to full strength.
Oh, we're gonna be fighting this. Lumeria is gonna be fighting this Pale Dim. It's actually gonna toss the spoon here. I appreciate the boldness of this move.
It is definitely very bold, yes. And it is fairly doable. Of course, you've got Tella putting up blinks here, and as long as those blinks take away from, obviously, the biggest issue with Pale Dim, then yeah, I think Plumeria should be able to pull this off.
Yeah, this is a very doable fight, especially with Edge being having that animated armor in hand and takes very little damage.
So it looks like it's going to take us about probably 35 minutes, but we will have our first objective in the books with PlumeriaKnight, assuming that nothing goes wrong with this fight, and it doesn't really seem like it's going to go wrong. I think Plumeria's pretty much got this in hand, albeit perhaps a little slowly.
Yeah, chat's mentioning, yeah, it is a move to make. It just takes a while. I think if anything, the only thing I would consider it being bold is if if RNG wasn't really kind to PlumeriaKnights. But in this case, PlumeriaKnight, like with the fact that illusions are coming out, this shouldn't be a problem.
Also, chat pointing out that more rocks are on the way, courtesy of PlumeriaKnight, and that charge should be just about done at this point. And meanwhile, Moonblaze got a Dragoon Lance out of the Siren Steel, so that will, well, we don't have a cane, so that won't really change much of anything, but if we had a cane, it would make those eggs a whole lot easier to crack open.
Yeah, so I guess we're also seeing here that moonblazewolf is opting, I think, to do the manipulation of I think I know there's a manipulation you can do that automatically swoon, like on the first try you swoon them. And on the first hit you do.
I was going to say, well, whatever that trick is, I don't know it, and it seems like Moonblaze may not quite have been able to get it down on that one either. But fortunately, 2 characters stay up, so you're going to get some good levels, at least for Edge and Porum.
Yeah, so that's a good start so far. Yeah, if I'm remembering this right, you can if your relative agility is at 1, and based on what your encounters, what the start of the fight is, I don't know for certain. I know I've seen Possum do it. I know that in the past.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's doable. It's one of those things that you have to be very good at timing, I think, in order to be able to make it work. So we get our first objective completed at about 36 minutes as PlumeriaKnight takes down the king of the town of monsters. Only gets a dragon whip for his troubles, unfortunately, but still, hitting that objective is, of course, worth the effort.
Okay, so while moonblazewolf is going to just continue the grind, that's those yellow dragons / eggs, or PlumeriaKnight's gonna go ahead and to check out Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, chat was mentioning earlier that the runner's commitment to fading Dwarf Castle has been pretty impressive. Well, faded no more. We get to see a Dark Knight waiting to greet our heroes in the back of Dwarf Castle.
Okay, so Possum's pointing it out too. With the agility that's currently out from the agility that gets put out on the yellow dragons, the assassin dagger doesn't ever proc, but you would have to have this to put a center slot edge, and then the timing on that, the timing for it to proc. So I remember seeing I never hearing about that. And I think I saw Possum do it in the past, but we did see a DKC on the Calabrena spot, so this isn't bad. Like for what we have so far, just Edge can hold on to this.
True. Of course, the question is what comes in that second boss fight. If it's in any way troublesome, then Plumeria could be in a bit of bother, but looks like I don't necessarily think it's going to be too bad if Plumeria gets the time to be able to pick everybody back up.
We do find Palom on the Rydia spot, but that's not going to be really all that useful. We do find Mylon Z as well, so on the Golbez spot. And chat's also bringing up a bit more info about that proccing with the Assassin Dagger, saying that you can use Herald Rope and Medusa arrows to get the proc off with an anchor on a speed anchor, and the specific timing on how, based on what the encounter type is, either you instant attack or delay the attack for a certain amount of ATP ticks. And the fact that you would have to hit the enemy at ATP 0 and just having to act just to get that to proc. Okay.
Yeah, it feels like the Assassin Dagger proc is a fair bit easier for enemies other than these eggs, because of course with any other enemies you can see them act and then you would know when to time it, but with the eggs you don't know when they would quote unquote act, so it makes it a little bit dicier there. Of course, in Dwarf Castle we saw a darkness crystal, so that opens a few things up.
Yeah, that opens up the Crystal Sword altar, and also opens up the moon for one thing, and it's not going to be haunted because of the fact that Crystal Sword altar is required.
Right, exactly. Yeah, there is at least that one objective, and of course, we have yet to see the tower key that we need. We've yet to see Luca that we need. We've yet to see Baron key that we need. So there are plenty of potential key items still available, and given that we've had a reasonably healthy mix of key items on Earth and basically womp spots, then it looks like this moon is going to be valuable for more than just trying to take down the Crystal Sword altar.
Yeah, one thing to note too is that PlumeriaKnight also, from what I can tell, is only one key item away from getting the double experience.
Yeah, that is correct. I admit I had to count a little bit, but yes, that is correct.
Yeah, I had to make sure I counted correctly as well, since I knew this coming going in. I think once Plumeria stayed in the underground for as long as he did. But the lunar rail is now risen, and PlumeriaKnight will go up to the moon.
So as Plumeria ascends to the stars, Moonblazewolf is about to get the rock to do so as well. I would figure, considering how Moonblaze has been routing so far, I would presume that he'll probably go back up to the Earth. I would expect go ahead and stop by Fabul and take care of Sheila 1 and 2, of course pick up that package, and then go up to the moon from that point. At least that's what I would expect. And then there are your sirens on the moon.
Yeah. That does speed up the process of the grind for PlumeriaKnight. And so that does help in case PlumeriaKnight chooses to go for the A grind. And it will look... PlumeriaKnight will head over to K value here to start off.
Chad asking if PK is in the lead. It really is kind of tough to say at the moment because you do have Plumeria having already done the Pale Dim fight, but you have Moonblaze already having done at least a decent grind. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't really think you can call it quite at the moment.
Yeah, it's too early to tell. It's kind of early to tell who exactly is in the lead given that situation with the grind that came out and the fact that PlumeriaKnight, yes, has the key item advantage, just as Chad's pointing out there, PK doesn't. It has what could be said to be a weaker party compared to moonblazewolf because of that level difference. moonblazewolf will now go up to the moon, have that looter whale raised, and there is the Mylon and Friends fight on Cave Bahamut's fight.
Yeah, that one's one that's a good bit more approachable on this spot, simply because if you're able to get the fiends down, the gas down before you get Mylon, which is pretty likely here, then you don't have to worry about them going super punchy. And if Mylon mostly sticks to the lit ones and you're able to get the occasional blink or two up, I think this fight is definitely doable for really either of these parties.
Yeah, and with that, there's the lip bolt coming out from PlumeriaKnight, and of course Edge is going to start swinging because of what we know about. And we're now in drain phase for these gas. Not really too much of an issue, but they'll be going down pretty soon.
Yeah, I don't see this necessarily going south, and especially because Adamant Edge is taking 1 damage from those lit ones. So if nothing else, once you get the gas down, you berserk Edge and kind of just watch him go to work.
Yeah, like you mentioned this, it's like he's targeting Mylon and the gas. It just in this case, and you want to have Mylon the only one standing at that point. So having Edge just go to town, and then here's those blinks coming up. This only makes sense.
Yeah, Plumeria's got this fight well in hand, I think, with the blinks coming up. Of course, you see Tella casting a virus there to commit himself to holding up the floor because, hey, I mean, Tella's good at that. We love to see Tella doing that. Yeah, I think Plumeria's fine here. I don't see any reason whatsoever that it's going to go any way other than a good fight here.
Yeah, and moonblazewolf opting to do the same fight as well. Might be a little bit better off considering the level difference, but we'll see. Sid goes down immediately to a punch, but again, this shouldn't really matter because with the blinks already out, this really won't hurt at all. And also, and of course, the Edge adamant armor thing that we've been kind of talking. We mentioned from time to time, but it's also pretty key in this fight.
Yeah, chat mentioning that we're going to see the impact of Moonblaze's grind here to see if those extra levels and extra power are able to make this fight easier, to see if Moonblaze can, I wouldn't really say make up time per se, but can maybe lap Plumeria a little bit just on this fight itself. Aside from that, though, Chad asking who is ahead on this seed, we don't really have, there's not really a firm answer per se, because Both runners have done most of the same things. Of course, Plumeria has the king objective lit, was able to take down Pale Dim in that spot. It was a fairly slow fight, but Plumeria was able to do it. Moonblaze has gotten a grind in to get a lot more in terms of health and levels on his characters. So yeah, it's really even, slash maybe you could make an argument for one runner or the other being a little bit ahead. But it's at this point, I think it's still a little bit too close to tell.
Yeah. And we're seeing here the difference between in terms of the party compositions here. PlumeriaKnight will be the first one to knock down Mylon and friends. And we'll be getting a Sand Ruby. Not particularly what you want, but it is a 10 key item, so you're not resetting that out.
No, you keep that, and then if you're Plumeria, of course, you know where sirens are if you want to go buy some more, and then go in and do that grind, or maybe just go ahead and run by the Crystal Sword altar, or go ahead and fight King Ryu's while you're here, because yeah, 10 key items.
And you can life glitch one of them to gain 3 instead of 2 of those King Ryu's because of how the life glitch works out to be. Yeah, here's that life glitch being put into play here for to get 3 King Ryu's out instead of 2.
Yeah, with the 10 key items here, you have 180,000 XP a pop, so that's essentially 5 to 6 of the eggs that Moonblaze was taking down in essentially one fell swoop. So chat mentioning that those levels are going to come pretty quickly for Plumeria, and they very much will. Maybe I'd say one more siren perhaps, and then Plumeria may very well be good to go, but it's going to go ahead and exit here. And I would expect go and check out that Crystal Sword altar.
Yeah, you're everything that's that you've done here is all amounting to this play to go into the Crystal Sword altar with that King Ryu grind. And Mylon goes down, proclaiming about its body, and Moonblaze down overtakes it out. I don't know if that was any faster.
I'm not sure. If it was faster, it wasn't all that much faster.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of getting at. PlumeriaKnight does find Edward, but Edward's already served. It's already like no longer needed because PlumeriaKnight did toss the spoon, and we're kind of as far as with that grind is concerned, Plumeria has perhaps locked in the party.
Yeah, whenever Plumeria tossed that spoon at Pale Dim, pretty much that was kudos to any Edward lurking in this seed. Plumeria is going to go ahead and head down toward the lower levels of the LST, so I would expect probably going to go ahead and check out that Crystal Sword, and then given proximity, probably go ahead and check some of these other spots as well.
Yeah, you're in the vicinity. You might as well. And Moonblazewolf also has similar sentiments with with Edward, but I don't know if Moonblazewolf opted to dart the spoon, and it's more so I have levels. This edge is no longer a used to be, and my party is pretty much locked in.
It's really looking like what we're, of course, seeing here as both of our runners are now in the LST is the difference in this seed may very well come down to ultimately Moonblaze doing the grind early versus Plumeria going ahead and taking that king fight and doing the grind later with 10 key items, because what we're seeing on our runner screens is pretty much about, I would say, 30 seconds to a minute apart. But it's worth keeping in mind, Moonblaze has got to go back and take on that king, whereas Plumeria already has.
Yeah, that's the one thing that PlumeriaKnight has the advantage over. It's just the fact that PlumeriaKnight opted to take on that Pale Dim on the Leviathan spot, and got that objective on the board before Moonblazewolf. Moonblazewolf decided to just reset out of it and not bother with it. But PlumeriaKnight decided to go ahead and take it on with the party that he had, and we'd be done. And we do see Vivalis on the Crystal Sword altar.
I mean, it's certainly not the worst place you can see Val.
Right. It's the sort of like me being not particularly good at this spot. Well, not particularly good at this fight. Is like, yeah, this one's gonna be a little tough.
Yeah, I mean, Val at any spot is rough. Yes, I guess it really just comes down to, can either of the runners keep themselves up from being weaked and punched to death, but then also have, of course, the damage output from either Edge or Yang in Moonblaze's case, or Sid in Plumeria's, to see if they can get this taken down. It looks like we've got a berserked Yang over on Moonblaze's side. Plumeria's got 3 characters blinked already, so I think they're both on their way to success. It's just going to be a question of how quickly can they punch Val down.
Right, and that's the thing with Val. Once she gets into her tornado phase, I remember this right. It's her defense does go up.
Definitely her magic defense goes up through the roof.
Magic defense, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, as far as physical defense, I don't know if there is any change.
I was thinking it was some of the some defense, but I didn't know what. And then our restreamer Xenocats point out that this is physical and magic defense. That's what I thought.
Speaking of our restreamer Xenocat, everybody, if y'all haven't gone to support all of the folks who are helping out today on our seed, please do so. Of course, you have Xenocat doing the restream, and they're doing a fantastic job. E-Ninja is handling all the button pushing and protecting those buttons from Possum. And of course, Professor Renderer is joining me in the booth, so thank you very much to all of y'all for helping out. And also, go follow our runners too, because PlumeriaKnight and Moonblazewolf have made it here to the round of 16, and they are, considering that they are on the same fight at the same time, they are giving us quite the fantastic show, so definitely go follow them as well.
Yeah, this is, they've earned their right to make it here, and they're putting on an incredible show. And Moonblazewolf does knock down Vivalis, and also PlumeriaKnight follows right behind him.
So ultimately for Moonblaze, this is a time gain of, I would say, probably about a minute or minute and a half in that fight. So that might, I don't know if necessarily that'll per se make the difference, but it definitely made up some time. And chat pointing out that Yang being super punchy is more powerful than Sid being super hammery, I guess. So that could very well pay its dividends as we go throughout the seed, not just in this moment.
Oh yeah, because here's the thing. Yang is like, once you get some levels on Yang, he could practically carry you for the rest through the rest of the game. It's just a matter of getting those levels at that point. It's because without like a lot of levels, he really doesn't do a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, Yang is definitely one that is level dependent, but like you said, once you get those levels, then Yang is off to the races. Speaking of off to the races, Wyvern is in the ribbon room and is sending everybody off to the races to run away from them.
Yeah, that's just Wyvern in general. Plumeria will see that, and we'll just be, yep, that's pretty much impossible, even if with run buffer strats. And just gonna go ahead and set that standard Wyvern standard time. Yeah, there's nothing really there's nothing really you have no other choice but to go into Wyvern standard time. In this case, and the more important people for moonblazewolf are still remaining, and that is Edge and Yang. Aurum is going to go ahead and get Starbuild up, and Sid would not be able to make out of that, but Edge stays alive, and that's what's also important for PlumeriaKnight. And Wyvern already has got that wall up for late on moonblazewolf's side.
And chat pointing out that we have one objective on Moonblaze's side and 2 on Plumeria's. But at the same time, we're also in the ribbon room right now, so if you get 2 of those key items at the moment, then those objectives will be coming in really fast.
Yeah, so yeah, but want to keep an eye out for that one as well. And Moonblaze will was trying to heal up Edge, but still had that wall up from the Mega Nuke Reflect, so didn't work out.
I was about to say, did I just see a missed nuke on Moonblaze's side? And I believe my answer is yes, I did.
Yeah, I took note of that too. I didn't say anything. I was just like, oh, okay, that's a thing that can happen. Cool.
Well, the good news is the magic at this spot seems to be low enough that the nukes were hitting Edge and not taking them out anyway, so worked out quite well for Moonblaze, and we see another adamant and an objective item here in the ribbon room.
So that's some really good news for Moonblazewolf, because that because with this this party now becomes a hybrid strat one, or could just be like a Zerkers one. I don't know. Yeah, this is going to be really good for Moonblazewolf because of those 2 Zerkers that we have.
Yeah, definitely. With a stronger Zerker in Yang over Sid, then that adamant will definitely help. And I do have to credit also Moonblazewolf for doing something that I forget to do all the time, and that is I lower my battle speed to deal with something like Wyvern, and then forget to bring it back. So good job on Moonblaze for being way better than me in that vein.
Yeah, I've had that happen too. But more importantly, Antlion is chilled out in his home.
Yes, he has embraced his moon destiny, as we should all do, I think.
Yeah, you have to respect the effort from Antlion to stay up on the moon for as long as he has. So yeah, this shouldn't be too bad of a fight. Like it should be bad of a fight for Moonblazewolf and Yang, Moonblazewolf, because we have the 2 Zerkers. Yes, counter is going to be a bit of annoying, but yeah, it shouldn't be like that tough to deal with anyway, because we have those 2 Zerkers. Yeah, he's already down.
Yeah, the double long-sworded Edge and buffed up Yang is really starting to pay dividends at this point, because Moonblazewolf has gone from being about a minute or so behind PlumeriaKnight to being a full Antlion fight ahead.
Yeah, and this is what we were mentioning heading from when PlumeriaKnight and Moonblazewolf both entered the moon. It was whether or not the levels that Moonblazewolf got was enough to overtake PlumeriaKnight, even in the face of of PlumeriaKnight finishing off Pale Dim and Leviathan.
Yeah, that Pale Dim fight is really, I think, in large part the one remaining variable to this race so far, because as we've seen through most of it, Moonblaze and Plumeria have by and large been following in each other's footsteps for most of the seed. That fight is the only real difference at this point right now. So we'll see if that affects anything, because of course you do have to have travel time to get to it. The fight itself, I don't think is going to be too big of a deal for Moonblaze, but the travel time to get there and back is going to be the biggest issue as far as that goes.
Yeah. Over on the Masa spot, we did find the Dark Elf. So this again. I keep mentioning this. This really isn't a problem. As it should be with the adamant armor. Dark Elf is going to go ahead and transform into the dragon.
And it looks like Moonblaze's plan here against the Dark Dragon Elf is basically just to turn it into a complete shish kebab with its fighters.
Yeah, this is gonna be pretty easy. So yeah, moonblazewolf does take down Dark Elf, as PlumeriaKnight does now approach that Dark Elf. We do get a silver apple out of it, but it's not really a problem because we already got a tower key from that, and that is an objective. So we will see moonblazewolf probably head up to the Mura altar next.
Yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised, considering that, of course, Moonblaze is up here already. Why not go ahead, pop a save outside, and then go check Murasame and essentially take it from there? And I think that's what Moonblaze is going to do.
Yeah, it makes sense to do it because you want to clear out the moon as soon as possible, and like you want to clear out the moon fully once you're on the moon. Especially if you have an objective here. So when you're along with the objective and any other key items you find, you just have to take out the entire moon.
Yeah, considering that there are still a lot of key items that we need to find for this seed. Of course, we have the tower key for the super cannon, but we still need Luca, we still need Baron. We have the package, but we still need the Earth Crystal. So there's still 3 good items that they need, and there's no reason to not check this, at least to see what it is.
Alright, so this Mura altar is going to lead us to Leviathan.
Yeah, I don't see that being an issue, especially for super-powered Punchy Yang and Slicey Edge with a good Porum with, I want to say at least, I think Porum has Cure 4 now, so I believe this party's needs are pretty well taken care of on that front.
Yeah. And PlumeriaKnight has also taken down the Dark Elf, and will join moonblazewolf in taking on the Mura altar. And well, but even before then, I would imagine the moonblazewolf will already have taken down the Leviathan before he makes it over.
Yeah, considering that Moonblaze did re-equip those claws, apparently reading Xenocat's mind 15 minutes in the past, taking care of that, and that is objective as well.
Yeah, that is the Earth Crystal, and yeah, that should be yeah, that's already 2 objectives on the board. Just waiting for moonblazewolf, and soon PlumeriaKnight.
Yeah, I think we're waiting on Luca and the Baron key. Those are the only 2 key items we need to complete this seed. I would be curious. Of course, we're going to find out in a moment what Moonblazewolf does. Probably, I would expect, goes ahead and I would think goes after, probably burns Mist Village and then heads up to Troya to do the Earth Crystal, or maybe flip that around. And it'll be interesting to see just how both of our runners essentially go about and do this.
Yeah, so Moonblazewolf will head over to Troya once more. Yeah, and we're gonna head up to Zot right away. We don't even need the treasury.
Yeah, there's no need to. Unfortunately, the Rate That Treasury clip will not be played today because, yeah, we're at a point in this seed where you don't want to lose the time rating a treasury that is probably not going to be terribly great under T-Pro.
Yeah, it makes, yeah, with the fact that T-Pro does, I guess, just lowers the value on the treasury compared to T-Wild, T-Wildish, from the group stage. So and besides, you're more focused on the objective anyway. You don't want to just do any more frivolous checking of boxes.
Right, yeah. I mean, the parties as they stand right now, of course, Moonblaze with Edge and Yang, and then Plumeria with Edge and Sid, along with Porum and Tella. These parties are both pretty well set, I think. We've mentioned that Moonblaze is probably in a better position with a more powerful Yang, but that obviously we'll see how that goes as we go through the rest of the seed. Chad is pointing out that PK does not have much of weaponry for Edge, and that is likely going to make a pretty big difference too.
Yeah. Moonblazewolf does find another Porum. You don't really need another Porum, especially considering that Moonblazewolf has already pretty much locked in the party, full stop. And yet another Porum. Nice.
So would we call this twins?
Perhaps. Oh, we actually are getting a treasury, so I guess we can start playing the game now.
Go for it, Xenocat!
Rate That Treasury!
Yay!
I'm not sure exactly how you would rate that tower. I would rate that tower, oops, we already had this, out of 10.
Yeah, and it's interesting to. I think it's an interesting move from Plumeria because you already have 2 adamant armors available to you, and the checks for that treasury is like, but we did see. We might have just gotten also some darts from, looks like, from the chat ratings.
Yeah, there's the defense sword there, mute knife there as well. The defense sword would be a good dart, since we're no Cecil and we haven't seen Kane. Moonblaze, speaking of darting, darted the spoon over at Asura as that first Zot check. Turns out, apparently there's not much to get from Zot, but it's an objective, so of course you're going to do it.
Yeah, so Moonblazewolf will now head over to the Fey March, oh, okay, I guess we're going to do, check some stuff at the Dwarf Castle? Probably going for some shops.
Yeah, I'm guessing probably to pick up more Baccae.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you're also just have like some stuff to sell even on S-Quarter, so it'd be enough to get 10 Baccaes. So now we either see moonblazewolf head over to the Fey March or the lower Babel, which is going to be and I chosen to go do the Fey March. Yep, you have an objective. You're pretty much all set to go for this fight. You're not really too worried about this, so you might as well take this out before you head up the tower.
Yeah, go ahead and take care of what is certainly going to be the harder of these two first, and then just saunter over to the super cannon room and bop whatever it is upside the head.
Yeah, that's no. I mean, as we all know, the super cannon is like the Boston super cannon is just a pushover. No matter how much you slice it. The only thing that makes it slower is, I guess, Golbez and Waterhag.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and we've seen neither of them yet.
Yeah, they're still out there, waiting to waste our time. And moonblazewolf will now take on that pale dim, and with what 4600 HP on Yang, and well the 2700 damage or HP on Edge. This is not a problem. Absolutely not a problem.
No, not a bit. Moonblaze taking those elemental claws off of Pale Dim, because, well, Pale Dim absorbs, I think, dang near everything, elementally speaking.
Yeah, I think you're right as well. But PlumeriaKnight has taken down the Lunars on the top of Zot. We'll get that objective out, even if it doesn't yield any of the key items. But soon moonblazewolf will match PlumeriaKnights in objective clears. So that advantage that PlumeriaKnight has will be nullified.
Yeah, then it'll really come down to how well our runners route the rest of this seed, because I expect Plumeria is going to go straight for tower. So, technically speaking, from an objective standpoint, Plumeria is still a little bit ahead, because of course Moonblaze is still taking care of this Pale Dim. Now this is where we see how much that equipment advantage for Moonblaze and the levels on Yang makes a difference in terms of, again, kind of, I guess, making up a little bit of time, as it were.
Yeah, so PlumeriaKnight will, again, which makes sense considering what PlumeriaKnight's having to had already cleared out Pale Dim, which is what moonblazewolf just did. Doesn't have to really go down to the Fey March again, but will be the first one to the lower Babel. Yeah, and it's just pointing out too, the routing has been they've been in lockstep in terms of routing.
Well, we were mentioning Waterhag and that gauntlet. We have a choice of the two, and we'll find out which this is momentarily.
Yeah, but this is on the Logay fight. So it's not what I was specifically mentioning on the super cannon. And it looks like because of no, never mind. I thought there was a pause in between that. But we have the all gauntlets.
Well, looks like both of our runners get to have a whole bunch of very lengthy fun with that, at least.
Yeah, this will be quite a bit. But this, with what we have, this shouldn't really, it doesn't take too long.
Nah, it won't bother the runners. I just get the feeling that probably both of them will feel a little bit behind getting caught up in an alt gauntlet. Of course, chat mentioning a moment ago that Plumeria has no choice but to do the tower, and of course at this point, same for Moonblaze, so I don't know that they'll feel too beleaguered by this, but still, running into an alt gauntlet is never exactly the most comfortable of propositions in a free enterprise seed.
No. If anything, you wanted to see All Gauntlet earlier on, and not like an hour 17 into the race. That's the last thing you wanted to deal with. It's an All Gauntlet at this stage of the race.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. I'm kind of thinking, trying to sort of put myself in the runner's shoes and figure if either of them feel like they're behind at this point. I can't imagine necessarily that either of them do, because they've literally done everything that is available to them up to this point.
Yeah, that's still... Yeah, this won't be too much of a problem for these two. And it really isn't anything else that I don't think they can do. But we did see a Luca key coming out from the All Gauntlet.
Yeah, so it is a very required All Gauntlet because, of course, you know, that's one of our objectives as well. So, and we have ourselves some guards in the super cannon room, so it's easy fight in an easy spot.
Yeah, like it's those two. It's one of those fights where, yeah, it's easy, but it's on a spot where it's the most easiest fight, and it even has the normal battle music. Like what more can you ask for? But PlumeriaKnight will take down the super cannon, and very soon moonblazewolf will get that Luca key, and that's exactly what happens. And yeah, PlumeriaKnight will be leaving leaving Babel with that whatever the item that is off of that super cannon.
I was going to say, we're sort of starting to run low on potential items here. Of course, obviously, you can tell on the tracker we have the Twin Harp, we have the Baron Key, which is required, and we have the Rat Tail. And it's getting to the point where we're starting to run low on potential spots to find them. So I expect that this tower item is probably also the pass. Thank you, Xenagat. I expect this item is going to be something that our runners very much want to see.
Yeah, if this is the Baron Key, you're set. It is not. It's the Rat Tail. It's a fetch quest, but before you even do your fetch quest, you just take out the Seal Cave.
Oh yeah, no reason to not do the objective at this point, especially because you are in proximity. I would have been extremely surprised if Plumeria went elsewhere, and I would be very surprised if Moonblaze did not go straight to Luca at this point, because it just makes sense from a routing perspective.
Yeah, that's the one thing that whenever you're routing something like in a any rando, it's more so what can you do in the general proximity of what you just did. And Seal Cave is one of those. And we saw that from Moonblazewolf before, with the having to do the king objective before taking out the tower, because it's in the vicinity. You might as well take that out while you're here. So at that point, so PlumeriaKnight is rapidly approaching that key item check in the Sealed Cave, and also have it in that boss for Sealed Cave as well. This Moonblazewolf starts the Sealed Cave dive.
Yeah, I don't expect either of the runners are going to have much trouble with whatever this boss is. Of course, the biggest thing to worry about in regards to it is the boss's speed. And hi, Music. How are you?
Another one of those spots where you're hoping you're hoping you just wanted to see the Baron Key and to be done, but no, you have to deal with that. Now, well, with this inventory boss for one thing, but also having to deal with that Twin Harp. We are going to get, from what it looks like things too, we'll get 17 out of 17 from this.
So would you call this a fast, slow fight?
Perhaps, yeah. CPU is like CPU is, while it is like, yeah, it's slow because you have multiple targets and you have to deal with CPU as well, and making sure you don't target, set your Blanca's blazing, because you don't want to get globe 199s. But yeah, this will be particularly slow, but will be a good dartboard for Edge, as PlumeriaKnight was just consistently going to be darting at that CPU.
Chat pointing out that the dart items from the treasury are working out pretty nicely at the moment for PlumeriaKnight. So it'll be interesting to see if the speculation is correct that Blaze can even out time here, or perhaps not. It'll be hard to say precisely, but unfortunately, Plumeria is getting globed. But looks like because of those darts, didn't really need to worry about it too much. Sid was the only one who had to suffer the wrath of the globes.
Yeah, and moonblazewolf also having to deal with the globe 199s as well. With that fight, and Edge will go down. This looking to be a little, well, it's gonna. Moonblazewolf should be able to stabilize this, I think.
Yeah, nah, it's not looking good. Just too much went down. Yeah, those globes, I think, hit characters that Moon didn't want them to hit, and so that just really destabilized that push. So, unfortunately, we'd been talking about moonblazewolf making up time and trying to get back to where PlumeriaKnight had been. That, in large part, I think, just disappeared.
Yeah, with that wipe coming at that moment, that gives PlumeriaKnight a pretty solid advantage.
Yeah, that probably gave Plumeria, I would say, another at least couple of minutes added on. So it's not unmakeable, of course. Moonblaze can still definitely come back and take this, but that margin for Moonblaze just got a whole lot smaller.
Yeah, and you didn't want that to happen at that point. But we do get the Baron Key. We don't have to worry about music. We still get 17 of 17. We are in go mode.
And Chad is ruining the fact that there will be no music today, at least in the run of play anyway.
Yeah. You hate to see it. But the more important thing is that PlumeriaKnight has pretty much a clear path now. Do Baron Castle, then Burn Mist, and you're good to go.
Yeah, really the only question now is one that Chad is asking, which is, if you don't get past here at Baron Castle, do you go ahead and take on the Odin Throne for it? How much time does that save versus avoiding the fight and going up to the LST? It's definitely an interesting debate to have. I think with the power that this party has, the pass, or if you did indeed get the pass from the Odin fight, it could very well be behind the Twin Harp. Then that, I think, would save the runner's time, but it's also that gamble. It is that 50-50. Is it at the throne or is it at Harp? Of course, it is. If it's at the Baron Throne proper, then, well, Bob's your uncle. You're pretty much good to go.
Right. And that's the one thing that if I was running this, I probably would say, no, just forget about it. We're already in go mode. We might as well run down the LST. Even if I lose to my opponent getting the pass, that's so be it. I don't want to take any chances.
Chat asking, are there freebie bosses left in the pool? We have not seen Waterhag yet. We have not seen the King and Queen of Evelyn. The boss spots that are remaining, I think, are what's on the throne, what's in the Odin basement, the package boss, and we have not seen Hook 1. Well, never mind, there's the King and Queen of Evelyn. They just decided to transfer their citizenship to Baron.
This is New Evelyn. What are you talking about?
All hail New Evelyn.
Yeah, this is super free.
And Chad also pointing out we haven't seen the bosses at Waterfall and Mist. That is correct, so thank you. And Giant.
moonblazewolf is opting to turn in the package first before doing Baron. Also, hi, Rydia. You're like exactly an hour and 28 minutes late, and even then we probably wouldn't need you anyway. And there's also a Kane, which also, again, you're kind of late to that. Speaking of Kane, there's Kane, helmetless Kane on the right side of the stones.
Well, I'm glad to see that the Betrayer does have some use in this seed, albeit not a terribly enduring one per se.
Yeah, and there is no tiara. There is no pass off of the Liberate key item. We're just gonna go ahead and run down the LST.
Yeah, tiara's a good hat, but not the item that I think Plumeria wanted to see, and I don't think Moonblaze will be very happy to see it either.
Yeah, I think you're better off. I think even then, I don't think moonblazewolf will even bother to try to find the pass as well. You just with this being an hour, almost an hour and 30 into the race, you're just wanting to get that you just want to get it out of the way, like get this out of the way now, and you want to finish this out. You're not worried about just doing any frivolous stuff. You want to run down the LST.
Well, it'll definitely be an interesting decision. I tend to think that they'll probably both go down the LST, but we will certainly find out momentarily, because of course Plumeria now has all of the objectives and the crystal in hand, and it is almost time to start tossing flags up. Not quite yet, but very nearly.
Yeah, it is coming very close to flag time.
Hint, hint, chat.
Yes. Now we're gonna go ahead up. We're gonna use that lunar for one last time for our big run down the LST.
Hey, I said it was almost time for flags, not that it was actually time for flags.
No, just don't worry about it. Well, we have a bit of a preamble anyway. I guess it's just those flags are just preamble. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah, you've got to unfurl the flag. You've got to make sure and check it and ensure that nothing's happened to it, because, that sort of thing can happen if you store a flag for a while. And then make sure that the pole is safe and secure, and then ensure that the rope to get the flag up to full mast is not frayed or anything like that. So yeah, you got plenty of things to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, all right. PlumeriaKnight is gonna go ahead and not start that run down. Now, I will stress this again. We mentioned this already. moonblazewolf can still bring this back, it's moonblazewolf is not down and out. Even if that wipe happens, there's still a there could be anything could happen at that Z fight. Are we taking a warlock grind?
This is interesting. I would expect that Plumeria is trying to get a last bit of levels on probably Porum, I would figure.
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, I think in chat's probably mentioning perhaps it might be just trying to get to white.
Yeah, that in a way is understandable, but of course we're able to see both streams, so we're also able to see that this is giving Moon a lot of time back, because Moon is going to be able to get to the moon to start making his own dive, whereas Plumeria is going to, oh dear, going to pop another siren. If the goal is white here, then you could understand it from a reflect strats perspective, but at the same time, it could very well give this back to Moon.
Yeah, and we've already passed up white. I already have white available. So this is going to be, this is nothing more than just probably trying to get some HP to survive a Big Bang, if anything.
Yeah, I understand the impulse. You want to make sure that Z fight is safe. It's just, yeah, it's sort of a difference between what the runners themselves know about what's going on, which of course is just what is going on for them, and what we know is going on because we can see both races, because we're freaking out, chat's freaking out, but Plumeria is simply trying to make sure that Porum can survive a full-on Big Bang.
Yeah, and that was very what interested me at all about this move, because right now moonblazewolf has regained control of the lead.
I think, well, I mean, technically not the lead, but is very close, and we've already mentioned before that Moonblaze has probably more powerful characters. So yeah, I think may very well have just surged ahead. But it's still going to come down to that Z fight. This is going to be an extremely close race. This is precisely what you want to see in a round of 16 match.
Yeah, and considering too, moonblazewolf had to take a wipe on the sealed cave during the CPU fight on Evil Wall, and now we're getting this close to just because PlumeriaKnight opted to play a little safe, and just didn't want to take any chances. So we're now down into the core of the moon. And yeah, we're gonna come up on this Z fight really, really soon.
Alrighty, so for anybody who is not familiar with Free Enterprise as a seed, Zeromus is the final boss of the game. However, Zeromus is a load-bearing boss, and we can't move him around because he's too big and heavy and he'll just sort of crush everything. So instead, we give him costumes. We dress him up in all sorts of things. We have more sprites for Z than I can even remotely remember, made by a whole bunch of folks in our community who do really, really good jobs with this sort of thing. So because of that, we got all these flags flying. We have bottom tier rating. Hello, everyone. And we also have a question that we like to ask as we get into the Z fight. So Renderer, would you like to go ahead and ask the question?
And that question is, whose butts are we gonna kick tonight? And is butt cute? What is butt? How is butt? And can it help me with my 401k? That's my favorite one.
Oh, that would be nice, actually. That last bit, at least. And yeah, to everybody who is tuning in or who's just joining us from Bottom Tier's raid, y'all came in right at the perfect time, because we've had a race between Plumeria and Moonblaze that has gone back and forth the entire race, and their routing has at the most been probably a couple of minutes away from each other. So as Bavmorda from Willow greets us as our Z face today, let us see if we can slay the evil witch and see who comes out on top on this seed.
Yeah, I've never actually heard of Willow. Actually, funnily enough, if you didn't work there, I would not know what it was.
Willow's fun. It's a good movie. It is actually available on Disney Plus now if you have that streaming service. It's very much a movie of its time, but it is a lot of fun, certainly.
Yeah, so here we go. We have pretty much dueling strats here. We're gonna see pretty much Zerk strats here from moonblazewolf. Controller is pretty much, well, controller is down save for big bangs. Tello's gonna obviously stay on the floor.
Yeah, poor Tella has done his job, and he is going to take a nap for the rest of the seed. Meanwhile, we have, the Berserker strats on Moonblaze's side, and as well on Plumeria's, so identical strategies for both. I would wager to say that the stronger Yang on Moonblaze's side is probably going to finish out this advantage, but we shall see. Of course, this race is not decided until we see that final crash and boom here.
Yeah, and looking like moonblazewolf opting to add a bit of whites to the fight here. Probably recognizing that that Yang probably isn't as best equipped in this situation, and want to add a bit more damage to it.
Yeah, chat talking about how close this is going to be. It could very well come down to the fact that Moon has at least a couple of times in this siege forgotten to re-equip Yang with those claws that have sort of taken care of the damage difference there. But oh boy, this is something else. Oh my goodness. It's exciting.
Yeah, this has gone very, very close. Gonna just deal with that cure for, even if Z gets healed up here. Just this doesn't matter. Moonblaze gonna Zerk up edge again after the black hole phase. There's rocks.
Yeah, we have rocks on Moon's side, and I wouldn't be surprised if rocks are pretty close on Plumeria's as well.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And that doesn't.
All right, GG to moonblazewolf, finishing in first place on this seed in what was an incredible race all around. So, as we see rocks pop up on Plumeria's side, moonblazewolf finishes in first, and Plumeria will probably be no more than a minute behind.
Yeah, this was an incredible race coming, and then there's Plumeria's finish as well. Wow, what a performance!
Absolutely, GG's to both moonblazewolf and PlumeriaKnight. This is exactly what you want to see in a race like this, as we are, of course, in the round of 16. And it's worth mentioning, this is only the first race between these two. So you got 2 more races to see. And we are joined, in fact, by both of our competitors, moonblazewolf and PlumeriaKnight. GG's to both of you. This race was fantastic.
Yeah, this was a very, very close race between the both of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for putting on a good show for everybody today, all across the board, I think.
Yeah, GG to moonblazewolf for getting the win today.
Yeah, this became very dramatic near the very end of the scene with moonblazewolf taking that wipe on on the CPU at Sealed Cave, and it got even more closer with PlumeriaKnight wanting to get whites on that forum and a bit more levels to survive a Big Bang.
Yeah, the goal with that was HP, and I actually just realized in the 15 minutes since the end of the match that I have 150 HP worth of apples in my inventory, so I didn't need to do that grind, unfortunately.
Oh no! Oh, that I definitely understand overlooking that though, because that when you're in the heat of a race like that, you're just your foot's on the pedal. You want to go, and yeah, I definitely understand that. I don't think anybody can blame you for that move.
Yeah, I was just looking for a little bit of safety, and in the heat of the moment, I'm not thinking, how close is it? I don't, I'm just trying to do the Z fight as safely as possible. So I knew it was not going to be easy to beat moonblazewolf. So yeah, just small little differences like that in swing a race.
Well, that was a seed where there were not a lot of seconds to bleed anywhere. I definitely had a couple stumbles along the way, and I figured if Plumeria had basically routed everything the same as me, there was a pretty good chance I was going to see the dot done while I was running back down because of the, especially the wipe to the CPU fight. That was a little bit, that was just an awkward, it wasn't really like a misclick, but the rolls were not what I was expecting, and I got punished for it. So in retrospect, I'm actually really glad I reset out of it as quickly as I did and tried not to salvage it, because that probably in the end actually let me win still. Because if I'd kind of, been chucking life potions and let it reset and try to get everybody up and dodge the mazer, that could have dragged out several minutes longer. So
right, yeah.
That's why you're so good, right?
Well, y'all are both really good. Let's go ahead and take care of that while Moonblaze's stream is busy pulling up Xenogears music. I'm going to shut up for a second and let it play. Alrighty, well, we got ourselves a chance to listen to a little bit of Xenogears from Tim's, and so we're all folks of the sea, thanks to the music. So Moonblaze, chat was really curious to know what was up with the claws in Yong.
So I took the Thunderclaw off for the Pale Dim fight, and then it just never dawned on me to put it back on. And I was, in my head, I was kind of like, wow, he's not doing a lot of damage anymore. But again, kind of like Plumeria was saying, when you're sort of in the moment, like you're thinking a lot about, where you're going to go next, what you're going to do if the pass is here versus if I have to go run the moon, and like you're really just not thinking about stuff that's a little bit below the surface like that. So thankfully, again, it's another one of those little miscues that didn't really cost me, and certainly I don't think I'm going to forget that again. I partially blame Yang for this because he was my pick for the worst character in the group phase, and I'm a little rusty on my Yangs, but he did pretty good today on the whole. So
Yeah, I think as we were, of course, watching the seed proper, it was, well, first off, I encourage both of y'all, if you get the chance, to go back and watch this, because holy Moses, it was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth the whole time. Probably the biggest moments, I think, that I can remember offhand are Plumeria deciding to go ahead and go after the Pale Dim fight at the King pretty quickly into the seed, and being able to pull it off primarily by tossing the spoon at Pale Dim. So Plumeria was able to get that first objective on the board, I want to say just shy of 40 minutes, I believe. And then,
right.
Yeah. And then right around that time, Moonblaze, you were going after the sirens in the tower and then choosing to do a grind. So that, I think, was the biggest difference early on. So so Plumeria had more objectives on the board. You had a bit more XP, but Plumeria was, for the most part, able to make up that XP advantage on the moon, taking, I believe it was I think it was one King Ryu fight. Was it one or two?
One, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Plumeria took one King Ryu fight after taking care of Cave Bahamut, and then that basically took care of that gap. And really, it was just a question of who could route better and be able to get through some objectives quicker. So it made it very, very, very close, very, very exciting. And it was really nice to sort of watch a seed that didn't really necessarily portend a lot of routing differences per se, but interesting to see how the little things made differences here and there, because we mentioned the claws. There were a couple of other things that helped just either stretch a gap a little bit or close it up that would ultimately make this as a 24-second difference, of course, as we see here on the timers.
yeah, I mean, when you get a adamant armor 5 minutes into the seed like that, it's going to just be off to the races. And yeah, I'm not surprised that there was a little bit of divergence, but ultimately not a ton. The one thing I was really curious about, I mentioned I was thinking a lot at the end about other things. And the one thing I was really curious about is if you had done Keyless Tower, you got the Luca key into the Twin Harp. And if the Twin Harp had been the pass and Plumeria had stayed on the Earth, in my head, I was like, that's a pretty even trade-off. So I wonder if that's maybe what happened. And this is going to be really close either way. So there was just a lot of little things like that. I was really kind of disappointed in myself for that early grind, just how it kind of dragged out. I wanted to stop at 10 sirens. And then somehow I got it into my head I wanted 12 so that I could have 2 extra in my back pocket in case I needed a little bit of extra XP at the end. But I got stuck on 11, and then Edge failed sneak 5 times in a row, and it was so frustrating.
Yeah, I could imagine it definitely was. Professor, I've been asking probably too many questions. Did you have questions that you wanted to ask either of our runners?
Not that I really know. Not really. I just want to say, just this was an incredible race all the way through, and I'm glad that I was able to watch this.
Yeah, thank you. I know, Plumeria, correct me if I'm wrong, in your game 3 against Bluff, didn't you also get a pink tail in the first 10 minutes?
If I did, I never equipped the adamant armor. It was a reflect team, so I just skipped it.
Okay, I might have my seeds mixed up in my head, but I thought that was that one. But yeah, I was just like, wow, we don't usually get a lot of seeds like this where you get the adamant armor right out of the gate on an edge of all the characters that you could throw it on. He's the one that you want to put it on anyway. So yeah, it was just a really unique routing experience, I would say, and a lot of very subtle things. I think you all pointed out a couple, and chat pointed out some really good ones that, for me, 24 seconds could have gone either direction. I don't think I really learned too much that I didn't know already, which is that PlumeriaKnight and I are both incredibly equal. And it's just going to come down to little things and maybe a little bit of luck. So looking forward to 2 more really good matches, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. I'm feeling a bit more confident. I didn't think I would really be competitive in a foot race with moonblazewolf, but maybe if I get some luck, I can steal a win here and see what happens. But either way, I'm really looking forward to the to race 2 and race 3 if necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. I think after this race, I think everybody will be packing the chat room to see the next race or the next 2, if necessary, between y'all, because this is definitely a great start to it. Do y'all have race 2 scheduled at this point?
Yeah, our second and third races are scheduled for Saturday and Sunday, both at 1 p.m. Eastern. So a little bit of a afternoon matinee, if you will. It's kind of like football, except there's no football right now. So you can watch us instead.
Right. Yeah. Well, hey, that's definitely good viewing too, because I mean, right now football is just on a weird new league, so we won't mind that. We'll watch y'all instead. All right, so I'm trying to get myself a view of what is coming up as far as races tomorrow. Looks like the ones that we have on tap, oh gosh, we've got a lot of them, holy Moses. So it looks like tomorrow we have Pancraz and Dusty Griff at, looks like 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We have Lord Bobry and Rybon at 8 p.m. Eastern, Woobear and Zyrak at 9 Eastern, Gale Swift and Simbu at 9:30 Eastern, and I don't think the assignments have been decided for them quite yet, but they're all going to be great viewing, whether they are on Free Enterprise or Free Enterprise 2 or whichever channel they end up being on. All of them are going to be fantastic. So definitely make sure to tune into those tomorrow. And absolutely GG's to both moonblazewolf and PlumeriaKnight. Y'all did an excellent job. Do y'all have final thoughts before we go ahead and get ready to head out for the day?
No, it's just going to be fun to watch it back. Thank you, Krant and Professor, for doing the commentary. Thank you, eNinja, for doing the tracking, and Xenocat for doing a little bit of an early restream today. Really appreciate all of you. And yeah, looking forward to Saturday now.
Yeah, basically the same. Thanks a lot for the restream, and I'm really looking forward to watching this one because I really enjoy close races, so it'll be a fun watch back.
Well, absolutely. Thank y'all for both putting on a great race. And also, of course, make sure if you haven't followed the runners, please do so. moonblazewolf and Plumeria both put on incredible shows to this point. And they're definitely worth follows if you haven't already. Also, of course, to everybody in the Restream team, we have Xenocat doing the Restream, and thank you very much for that. Of course, eNinja doing the tracking, and then myself and Professor Renderer here in the booth. Thank you all for helping us today. Very much obliged. So much appreciated to all of y'all. And Professor Renderer, I'll go ahead and give you the mic to lead us out of here as we go raid Dusty Griff, who is doing some brackets practice.
Yeah, thanks to everyone for watching this, and until then, take it easy.